Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk, and it is Father's Day. So I want to start off by saying Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there, and it has been a great day for me. And this is a day that I never knew that I would celebrate being the dad. And I just want to say how blessed I am to be a father, because I have no biological children of my own, but when I married my wife, who was a twice widow, I became the stepfather to 4 amazing young men. And let me tell you, I am so blessed to have the family that I do and the kids that I do. They're all in college now, but it's been a wild ride, and it has been amazing. And this day definitely means a lot to me as well, because I have an amazing father. And I got to talk to him today. And so it's weird that as I get older, the more I realize I'm just like my dad. So I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are the same way. You were younger and like, I'm never going to be like my dad. And then lo and behold, you're like your dad. Oh man, the cycle just goes on, doesn't it? It's quite amazing. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Well, thanks for joining me here in the garage, because we got a few things to talk about. A couple things are kind of updates, not really, big exciting updates. And then I wanted to talk a little politics, and you guys know that I always save the political stuff for the end of the video, in case you're just here to have the casual gun conversation. So I wanted to give you an update first and foremost on the slide that I was telling you about for the Glock 19. The company sent me a shipping label, which I do need to go print, but I packaged up the slide and that little case that comes with it, and it's going back to the manufacturer. So they were really nice when I sent them an email and a video, and I believe I don't know if it's like their chief engineer or somebody from the company is supposed to give me a call this week in regards to all the problems that I had. So you guys are saying, I thought you guys are right that when I create the video, I need to show the problems and then talk about and discuss about them fixing the problems, whether that could be kind of a review of their customer service, but also just see what the issue was and if they can resolve it. But I can't tell you the name of the company, because I promised I would not say anything until the official release date. So I guess all that information is under an embargo. But I wanted to give you an update from the last video, because a lot of you guys were really interested in that. But it's all packaged up, and I need to get the shipping label printed, and this goes off to them tomorrow. All right. I also have on the workbench the Staccato XL that has been customized by Vulcan Machine Works. I have all of the range footage edited for this, and I'm in the process of creating the bullet point script. And this is the next one that will get filmed. I was actually hoping to kind of do it tonight, but I don't know, being a Father's Day, I've kind of spent some time with my kids and doing stuff around the house. So this is next up on the chopping block. I did go to the range today because I did need to film some content for a optics review, and I got like 3 or 4 optics I have to review. So I got one out the door today, and it was the one I was telling you about. I think it's called the Aimwin PN320. It's one of those Chinese, optics, reflex red dot sight. It actually works pretty well, except I found out they machined it wrong when it comes to the RMR footprint, because it does not fit flush on any mount that I have or any pistol that I have. So I did talk about that, and it was originally the red dot that was going to go on that slide that's in that box that I told you about. I was trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I was all frustrated in the last video about. Well, I took it back, used it on my Walther PDP. Oh my gosh, that Walther PDP is such a great gun. That is such a great gun. Hands down, it's awesome. It beats so many other striker-fired handguns out there. But yeah, so I went back and I made the video. I decided not to refilm the unboxing and the mounting, but I just talk about in the video how I had problems with my wife's Gen 4 Glock. So anyway, that's all the content creation updates and news. And then I also spent some time this weekend, and I have to tell you guys, I was a little bit selfish. Running the Texas Gun Vault is like having a second job. Like, it literally is. And it sometimes takes away from the joy of the Second Amendment and like gun collecting and just doing gun stuff, because everything I do, I try to turn into content. Or if I have free time, it turns into making content, editing content. But I was a little bit selfish because I've had some projects out here, gun related, that I have been wanting to work on. In fact, you guys never see it because it's behind my cameras on my workbench that goes towards my garage door. I've had these foam kind of cutouts that I can create custom foam cases with, and I've had this case over there, and it's literally been sitting there for, I don't know, half a year. And I kept telling myself, I'm going to make myself another custom case. And I actually made a video about how to make a custom case for a rifle about a year ago. And I talked about how you use the pick and pluck foam, and you have to cut everything. And then once you get everything kind of laid out, you can use the spray plasti dip, and you got to use like spray adhesive and hot glue guns and all that kind of stuff. And you can create a custom case. Is it the best custom case in the world? No, and I didn't build it to be that, but I finally built one for my, what I call my home defense AR, and it's in this flat dark earth case here, because the gun generally has a flat dark earth motif. So I thought I would show you my little project in case you guys were interested. So let me open this up and I will adjust the camera here. All right, and man, does it still smell from the plasti dip spray, but I think it turned out pretty good. So let me pick up the camera here, and let me unplug it because I was having it charge, and then and there it is. So this is the case that I made for it. It's one of my SBRs. It's on a Barrett Rec 7 lower, but I have a place for the suppressor, magazine, the optic. Now, some people say, why did you take off the optic? You got to re-zero it. Well, I couldn't really figure out a way of making it work with this case. So it's easier just to take it off. And I like to run this gun with iron sights anyway. So, and then I got my Surefire scout light and the upper and the lower. And you can see where this was originally that, pluck foam, and you can kind of make the compartments however you need, but I've sprayed it all with that plasti dip, so it looks like it can still come apart, but it really can't. And I used some of the lessons I learned from making the previous case to make this one, and I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. And I made sure everything's in there nice and tight and secure, and I always make sure that I have at least 3 of these little squares between items, because anything more narrow towards the center of the case often is a little bit too fragile. Now, I had to do one here and down here. You can't always avoid it, but anyway, so that's how it turned out, and that was my project for the past day or so. So instead of making videos, instead of going to the range, this is what I was creating here in the garage. So I was on the ground and spraying plasti dip and cutting this out, and super glue, well, I guess not super glue, but like hot glue is what I was using. And so I think I got this thing looking pretty nice. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. So do you guys ever make custom cases for your firearms? So yeah, this was one of my AR projects that has kind of always been evolving ever since I got that Barrett Rec 7 lower receiver. And this is just the configuration it's in today. It shoots great. It's one of my favorites. Here you go. All right, so let's return you guys to the usual holder. And woof, it takes this plasti dip a couple of days for it to really stop smelling. It kind of has that, I don't know, you would say that kind of fume. It smells like gasoline in a way. But after a few days, it does go away. So I'll probably have to let it air out. But I'm really happy with the way this case turned out. All right. So that's all the real gun talk I have. So now I wanted to talk politics. And I know that you guys might not come to my channel to talk politics, but I'm giving you fair warning. So if you have watched to this point in the video and you don't want to hear me talk about politics, and more specifically Democrats and Republicans and all the stuff that's currently going on in the world, you can click away. But if you want to participate in the word of the day is case, because I built this case. So if you use that word, I know you at least watched to this part of the video. All right, get that out of the way. Okay, so fair warning, we're going to start talking politics now. Okay, if you're still here, okay, so don't be mad at me now. All right, so I wanted to talk about the whole No Kings protest that's been going on the past couple of days, and I'm sure you guys have been hearing about. I believe we had one here in the Dallas area. I know there's been a lot in Los Angeles and in Florida and Charlotte, North Carolina, and wherever. The funny thing is they had a No Kings protest in England that was protesting Trump, but not King Charles. You know, if anyone's going to have a No Kings Day, you would think it would be there. But anyway, the thing that drives me nuts about all this stuff is all the people online that I'm Facebook friends with. And by the way, if you are ever my personal Facebook friend, not the Texas Gun Vault, but like me personally, you'll discover that I never talk politics, because I have a very diverse friend group, and I have very diverse friend circles. I got everything from music to gun stuff to family to just, friends from my past to other social circles that I run in. And I'm very aware that there's a lot of people on there that come from very diverse backgrounds and have very diverse political opinions. And I'm not there to offend anybody, because I know I'm not going to change anybody's mind, and no one's going to change my mind. So pretty much everything I post about is going to be guns, but I don't do it in a political way. It's like, hey, here's me at the range, here's what I built, whatever. I talk about my dogs, my wife, my family, food, and places I've been. That's pretty much what I talk about. You'll never really see me post a political thing at all. But I have to sit there and I watch other people constantly talk politics. And I'm blown away by how many people think that they live in a little bubble. Now, I am totally fine if you disagree with me on politics, because actually I probably disagree with almost everybody here on politics, because I'm a libertarian. I am not a conservative. I'm very libertarian. I'm not I wouldn't say an anarchist. Now, a lot of times when I say I'm a libertarian, I get a lot of people going, well, you don't believe this, blah, 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 you're not a real libertarian. Trust me, I'm more about libertarianism than most people, but I do believe that there are boundaries and rules that society needs to have. I'm not an anarchist. But I'm blown away by how many people on this No Kings Day, people that think that they're so righteous, okay? And I'm going to go after the liberals here at first, but I'm going to go after the conservatives or the Republicans second here. But so many people are talking about how Donald Trump is a tyrant, he's a king, and he's taking away people's rights. Now, for the love of me, I cannot figure out what rights he's taking away. I cannot figure this out, because I look at our society, and even if rights are being taken away by people that I might disagree with, I would still fight for them. I would be like, okay, we can't do this. But I can't figure out, if you guys can tell me what rights he's taking away, let me know. Because even if you're, transgender or member of the LGBTQAIA plus BT, whatever the current acronym is or the letters are, he's not saying you can't do it. No one's rounding you up. And the people that are being rounded up now are in the country illegally, and we're simply giving them a ride home. That's what it is. We're deporting them. We're not torturing them. We're not killing them. We're not doing any of that. So I'm not really sure what rights are being deprived, but everyone's talking about how he's a tyrant. And so I've been thinking, okay, why do they not see how the coin can be flipped? So, for example, when the Democrats are in charge, they're always going after guns, and guns are clearly enumerated in the Constitution. And I know you always get some liberals that are saying, well, I'm for the Second Amendment, but I'm for common sense gun control. And then you ask them, what are you for? And they start to list it. They're for assault weapons bans and universal background checks and gun insurance liability and this and that. And you realize that if all those things are implemented, you can't have a gun. It's impossible to have a gun. So they're not for the Second Amendment. I mean, they're so far away from common sense that it gets out of control, but they don't see it that way. Or, for example, during the COVID-19 epidemic, they were totally fine with the government coming to people and saying, you need to get this shot. So essentially a medical procedure that could be against your own conscience. You could be like, I don't want this. I don't trust it, which is your right? Because they're all about my body, my choice until it comes to that shot. And if you don't get that shot, well, you're not allowed to fly. You can't go to school. You can't go to work. You can't have a job. You get ostracized. You can't get this. You can't go to the hospital. You can't, whatever it is. But they're totally fine with that. So they'll be happy to deprive you of all of your rights if you don't take that shot. But they're not the tyrant, okay? In their mind. And I just cannot rectify this in my mind, how some people can be so blind to the other side. Now, listen, there's hypocrisy on both sides. I'm going to get to the Republicans in just a second. Another thing would be like the January 6th, events. Essentially, they were totally fine with people being deprived of their, right to due process. People were being put in solitary confinement for walking through velvet ropes. Now, if you were a violent person that attacked police on January 6th, if you broke things, if you tore things down, okay, I believe there should be some type of legal repercussions. Like, we do not tolerate that. But people that were escorted through the Capitol building by police and walked in velvet ropes and then peacefully left, not knowing what's going on, there was no reason to go after those people. But people on the left will say they were violent insurrectionists. But then you look at, people that are stopping the enforcement of, whether they like it or not, ICE is a lawful department of the United States government that was created by Congress and signed into law by the presidency, funded by Congress, and all of this has been voted upon by the American public. So they say that Trump is hurting democracy. Well, he won the popular vote saying he was going to do these exact things he's doing. That's democracy. The Republicans won control of Congress. That's democracy, right? It's funny that you can win democracy, win the vote, and you're destroying democracy. Doesn't make any sense, okay? But they have no problems with these, I said, protesters, mostly peacefully protesting, burning down, buildings, looting. Imagine if conservatives did that. Imagine if people on the right did that when the left tried to overreach. But now let's talk about conservatives. Now, here in the state of Texas, it is bizarre to me how Republicans will snatch victory. Snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, I think is the saying. Because they're trying to pass this banning of THC law, which, by the way, it's already illegal in Texas, right? Pot is illegal. But there's this whole industry that's popped up that is about hemp-based THC. Now, as a libertarian, first off, I want to say I don't do anything. I don't do drugs, okay? The only thing I would imbibe in is alcohol, but I've never been drunk in my entire life, okay? So I don't do any of that stuff. But I know a lot of people that do because I'm in the music world, okay? I know a lot of people that do pot. And even if it's not like marijuana-based THC, it's the hemp-based THC. And I don't think the Republicans understand, because they're like, well, we're all for rights. Well, people just want to ingest a plant. You need to get off of it. Like, seriously, you need to get off this because you're going to lose so many votes. Like, we're gaining momentum in all these different issues. And then you do this. And I already know people that were leaning conservative, leaning Republican, leaning libertarian. And then they go and do stupid crap like this. I personally feel like, while I do believe we should all have morals and ethics and whatever those are, you can, as long as you're not hurting anybody else is kind of my standard. You can do whatever you want, But the Republicans and the conservatives need to get off the moral bandwagon. And I'm not saying that because I want an immoral society, but that has to be changed through culture and not through laws. So the Republicans out there, or the conservatives out there that are, making fun of Democrats, saying they're, taking away rights. Well, you got to look at the perspective of other people saying, well, you're taking away the rights of people that want to use hemp or whatever. And it's those small little battles. Now, in the grand scheme of anything, is anyone's life truly going to be deeply impacted? Well, maybe the people that are involved in those industries, yes. But society as a whole, no. And I don't understand why we have to have these stupid fights. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, so I see so much hypocrisy on both sides of the aisle. More on the left than I do the right. But people that are on the right need to see how the other side looks at them as well. I don't like it how one side claims they're the ones for democracy and they're the ones for rights, and then have no problem taking away the rights of other people, especially when it comes to stuff that doesn't really matter. I mean, if you don't do THC or ingest THC in any way, why do you care if other people do? They're going to do it anyway, and if we ban it, all they're going to do is get it from illicit sources, and which empowers the cartel, which makes what happens at the border even worse. That's all I'm saying, right? Anyway, so this whole no kings thing is so silly, and I have honestly had to unfriend quite a few people. I never engage with them, just like on my channel. I never engage with people. I don't argue with them. I just can't take it anymore. It's just society's getting out of control when it comes to political disagreements. It's totally cool if you disagree with me, right? You can just be nice to me, say, Jason, I disagree with you. Here's why. And I'll go, I see your points. I might disagree with you, but we're still friends, right? That's not the way society is. Everyone acts like, man, it is all or nothing. Like, if it's the most bizarre thing, it's all or nothing. And we've gotten to use such hyperbolic language that when one party gets in power or one person gets in power, it's like literally Hitler. Everyone talks about that. Trump is literally Hitler. No, he's not literally Hitler. No politician is. There's some bad ones, and I do believe there are evil people, that have nefarious intent. But I don't know. I see it on both sides. I don't know. I'm just getting so tired of it. So what do you guys think about the no kings thing? And do you understand my perspective that there's hypocrisy on both sides? And how do you handle the people in your life that all they do all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is post political stuff on social media? I don't know how they do it. I feel sorry for them because they wake up and they're posting about Trump and how much they hate Trump. Lunchtime, they're posting about Trump and how much they hate Trump. Dinner time, they're posting about Trump and how much they hate Trump. I'm like, do you guys have any life? Like when Biden was president, I didn't post a damn thing about Biden. Didn't do it. Because I have a life to live. I got things to do, right? Anyway, that's all I want to talk about tonight. So, no answers, just observations. So let's have a good discussion in the comment section. And if you made it to the end of this part of the video, the word of the day is king. Because everyone was saying no kings. And I don't understand why they think Trump is trying to be a king when they were totally fine with the Democrats pushing all the things that they did. And, if Kamala would have been president, would they be having a no queens march saying she can't do all this thing? It's funny because when they're in power, you have to worship at the altar of big government. You have to do what they say. They're elected and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I know we're not going to solve any of these problems today. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me here in the garage. Let me know if you have anything to say about anything we talked about, from the really cool staccato to my case to the update on that slide. So, as always, thanks for watching.